So hi all, welcome to this another video lecture. In this video lecture we will discuss this problem, first letter capitalization 2. This is problem number 3374 and this is the hard category problem in LeetCode. So in this problem we have been given a user content table in which the content ID is the unique key for this table and each row contains a unique ID and the corresponding text content. Write a solution to transform the text in the content underscore text column by applying the following rules. So convert the first letter of each word to uppercase and the remaining letters to lowercase. Special handling for words containing special characters. For words connected with a hyphen, both parts should be capitalized. Example, top rated should be top rated. Okay, so both, since it is separated by a dash, so the first letter for each and every word should be capitalized and all other formatting and spacing should remain unchanged. Return the result table that includes both the original content underscore text and the modified text for following the above rules. So simply what it is trying to say that it has been given this text. Okay, so in case if there is a separator, like for example if there is a space and there is a dash, right? So whatever words that we have, the first letter for each and every word with these separators, that is space and dash, should be capitalized. Okay, so if you just see hello world of SQL is there, so hello, H of hello is capitalized, world, W of the world is capitalized, O of the off is capitalized, and SQL is already capitalized. But yes, you see this, that QL is capitalized but it has to be is uppercase, it has to be turned into lowercase. Only the first letter of every word should be capitalized. So we should handle all these cases. So looking at this problem, it may seem that it's an easy problem, but it's actually not an easy problem. The reason why it's not an easy problem, because we have to enter the text, and inside this row, each and every one of these texts, we have to iterate through each and every character present in this particular text. Okay, so this is the reason why this has been an hard category problem, and the way how we are going to use this, we are going to achieve this, is using a method known as recursive CTE. Okay, so we are going to recursively, we are going to call and we are going to iterate each and every character present in this original text for every content ID. Okay, so let us see, and let us go ahead and let us see how we are going to achieve this. Okay, so first and foremost, what we need is that we need to find out exactly what is the length of this particular text, because if we have to perform recursion over it, right, if we have to iterate every character, then we need to know where exactly this recursion should stop, where exactly the iterator count should stop, right? We will have to create an ID for that. So let us go ahead and let us start. So I will say select the content ID, the content underscore text, and we are going to calculate the length. So for that we are going to use the length operator over here, length of the content underscore text, and we are going to say that this is length. Okay, and this I am going to say from the user underscore content. If I am going to go ahead and run this, it will just simply go ahead and it will return me the length for all these characters which is present in the original text. So you see there are 18 characters, there are 19 characters, 23, and space is also included in the characters, so please be mindful of that. Okay, so 18, 19, 23 and 31 is there, correct? Now what I want to go ahead and perform a recursive CTE, right? A recursive call I need to make, where I need to get every character present in these particular text, right? So H, E, L, L, O and for every content ID we have to do it. So for content ID 1 we need to get each and every character. So similarly for content ID 2 we also need to get each and every character, right? And we are going to store them in each and every row, correct? So how we are going to go ahead and do that? So let us go ahead and let us store this in a temporary table. Okay, so we will say with temp. Now since we are going to recursively call this temp, right, so we are going to say recursive Okay, whenever you are going to call a table, a CTE, right, in a recursive fashion, so you have to mention this recursive over here. If you don't, then it will give you an error. Okay, so with recursive temp as, and here I'm going to go ahead and pass this recursive element over here. So select content ID, I'm going to pass the content ID 1 as ID. Now for us to go ahead and execute the recursive CTE, right, we need to have an anchor element and a recursive element. So anchor element is nothing but the base case, right? So we need to get, so what is going to be the base case? The base case is going to be that for every content ID we need to get the first character of the content length respectively, right? So that is the reason why I'm mentioning ID as 1, initial value of ID I'm giving it as 1 like this, and this ID is going to be the position. So it's a pointer that is pointing to the first character of every element in the, every character in the context underscore text. So right now ID is pointing at 1, that means this is denoting the first position of this particular text over here, that is hello. In hello it is H. So this is 1 as ID represents that pointer, and we are going to increment that pointer. So right now it's the base case, so content underscore ID comma 1 as ID. Okay, and then we are going to pass the substring as well. So what the substring is going to do, substring will definitely will go ahead and give me a substring, basically a substring from this particular string, right? So I need to get every character, so this is going to help me to get every character. So the substring, it will take the content underscore text from where I need to get the substring, and it is going to accept the next as the pointer exactly which position is the initial position, so that is going to be 1, and how many characters do you want to get after that. So I only need 1 character. Okay, and then I will just pass this as, let's say, text, alias this as text. Okay, comma the content underscore text, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to also pass the length as well. Okay, from temp. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use union all in this particular case. Okay, so union all. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, let me show you what exactly this returns. If I go ahead and if I run this, so you will see that this actually returns me the first character of every text present in this content underscore text. Okay, this is what it returns. Okay, and this is going to be my anchor element, that is the base case. Now let me store this in a temporary variable. Let me just say this as temp2 as. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a recursive element. So I will say union all, and what I'm going to union it, now I'm going to go ahead and fetch the second character, right? So that's why I'm giving union all, because I want to I want to append all these rows on at the bottom, right? So right now it's ID1, character is H. In the 5th row it will be ID2 with character as the next element for this particular content ID1. So that is the reason why we are going to do union all, because it is going to append the records at the bottom of the table every time, and we are going to recursively call it. So what we are going to do, we are going to fetch the same your columns over here, that is content underscore ID comma, and now since ID is 1 and I want to iterate it over, so I will say ID plus 1 comma, and I will pass in the substring. And now since, and this is going to be content underscore text comma, and now since the pointer is now going to be pointing at ID plus 1, so I will be saying ID plus 1 over here, because now the pointer has to change. Right now it is as ID, that is initially is 1, now it is going to be at 2, so ID has to be incremented to 2, right? And every time it's going to be incremented. And how many characters do we want? We only want 1 character, and we are going to alias this again as text. This is going to be content underscore text. This is going to be length from now this is very important, from which table, since we are recursively calling it, so it is going to be recursively called from temp2. So from temp2. So what is happening over here is that initially it is going to go ahead pick this, okay, it is going to go ahead and pick this, and when it is going to perform this union, all right now id is 1, so this will be id2, content id is going to be the same as 1 only, okay, substring of content text, that is this text, and now it is going to start from the second position, that is e, and it is going to only get me the value e over here. So every time what is going to happen, right, it's going to iteratively, it is going to give me all the characters present in this particular text for every content id. So if I go ahead and let me run this, if I say temp2, okay, I need to place a comma. It is saying person aborted. Wait. Okay. Yes. Sorry, I forgot one condition, where obviously the recursion will be aborted because it has entered into infinite loop, because we need to mention basically where it has to end. So I will have to mention that the id must be less than equal to the length minus 1, okay, because it has to stop at the end of this character. So let us go ahead and let us now run this. And now if I go down, you will see that, see, it has given me every character of this particular content underscore text. So if you look at the content id 1, right, for content id 1 this is the first character, then again for content id 1 e is the second character, and this second character and the first character, it is mentioned, it is the id is storing that information which I'm incrementing, okay. So if I go ahead and let me go ahead and let me copy this and let me paste this in a notepad. So see, this is the way how it is happening, right? For content id 1 h is the small text, then for again content id 1 e is the second character, right? And if you just see, we are also storing the spaces and a dash. So this is the way how we actually can iterate every character present in a text in this content underscore text using the recursive CTE. So this is very helpful for us to go ahead and perform this kind of operation, okay. And this is probably one of the advantages of using a CTE over subquery. Subqueries will not be able to perform this, but a recursion CTE will be able to perform these kind of things, okay. So now what we have to do, okay, we want to now get the previous character. And the reason why we want to get the previous character, because if you remember, we need to go ahead and for every word we need to capitalize the first letter of that particular word, right? And how we will know that there are two separate words? Obviously there has to be some kind of a separator, right? So that separator has to be either a space or a dash. So we have to pass this condition that if my previous character is a space or a dash and my current character is a small case, okay, is in lowercase, then we need to make it as uppercase, okay. So for that we need to get the previous characters, okay. So let us go ahead and let us get the previous characters, okay. So for that what we will do, we are going to say select content underscore id, and we are going to say id comma content underscore text, sorry, a typo mistake, content underscore text. Then we are going to pass in the length, and then we are going to pass the text, okay, the text. And here what we are going to do, we are going to pass the, now if you just see, this is the text, so we need to get the previous character. So we will use a window function which is known as lag. Here I am going to mention text, and previous to that, so I will mention one character, and here by default it has to be empty, right? It has to be a space, correct? And what I'm going to do over Now I'm going to partition it by the content ID, right? Because I need to get it for every content ID, and then I need to order it by the ID. Okay, so I need to sort it by the ID, and then what will happen, and this is going to be, let's say, brief, right, from temp to, correct? So now if I go ahead and if I run this, what will happen? You see, every character's previous character will be denoted, and it will be ordered by the ID and partitioned by the content ID. So you will see it, everything will come in order. You see, content ID is 1. So this for content ID 1, this is the first character, that is H. This is the second character, that is E. So you see every every character has been iterated over here, right? And for every character we are getting the previous character. So previous to H there is nothing, so by default I have placed a space. Okay, and the reason why I have placed a space over here, because when I'm going to add this condition that the first letter previous to if the previous character is a space, then the first character should be capitalized, because we need the H to be capitalized as well. That's why the previous character over here by default I've mentioned this as space. Okay, so here if you just see, the previous character to W is this space, so W has to be capitalized. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us perform that. So we will store this one also in a temporary table. Okay, and let me place a comma, and now what we are going to do over here, we are going to say select the content underscore ID, then we are going to say ID, there we are going to say content underscore text, content underscore text, then we are going to mention the length, then we are going to mention the previous character. Okay, and then now over here what we are going to say, we are going to use a case statement over here, right? That is this particular text, right? This particular text, we need to perform an operation on this text. So what we are going to do, we are going to say that case when my previous character is a space, or if my previous character is a dash. And when my previous character is a dash, right, then I need to check, what I need to check, if my current character over here, okay, is between, so I'm going to use the between operator, is between small a and capital Z or not. That means any character which is lying in between small a and small z or not, right, is in lowercase or not. If it is any of them, right, then I want the text to be uppercase, this character to be uppercase. Okay, then again, if my previous character, okay, now my previous character, if it is between capital A and capital Z, that means if my previous character is already capitalized, and if my current character is also capitalized, right, like in case of SQL, you see the previous character, that is S, is also capitalized. For Q, with respect to Q, the previous character, that is S, is already capitalized, and Q itself is capitalized. So in this case, what we want this to be lowercase. Okay, if this is this, then we want it to be lowercase, lower of text. Okay, else we, for the rest of the case, we can just leave as it is. So it is as good as that, and we will give an end, and we are going to go ahead and alias this as, let's say, next. Okay, and then we are going to say from temp 3. Correct. If I am going to go ahead and if I run this, You see, because the previous character was this space, so the next character has become this capital. So if you just see, it has really done my job, right? The first character of every word which has been separated using this previous character, right, it has been converted, right? Every first character of every word has been capitalized. Hello world, right? It has been capitalized. Now what I want to do, I want to go ahead and I want to make this in one single line, right now it is in every single row, correct, but I want to place this in every single line. All this I want to group it, concatenate it together, and I want to place it in one single line, because ultimately I want it in this format, this converted underscore text. So how we are going to go ahead and do it? So for us to do that, let me go ahead and store this in another temporary table. Okay, over here we'll give a comma, and here we are going to use content underscore id comma content underscore text as original text. Okay, and here I'm going to use a function known as group underscore concat. Now group underscore concat, what it will do, it is going to go ahead and it is going to pick some of the rows, okay, the values from some of the rows based on some condition, and it is going to concat them together and place it in one single line. Okay, so right now I want HELLO and this entire word to be concatenated and given to me in one single line, where I'm going to group it by this content ID, right? So for every content ID, I need to group and concat this particular text that is next. So I'm going to pass next over here, and here I'm going to say I need to order it by ID. And the reason why I need to order it by ID, because ordering has to be done in this case only. It cannot be E comes first then L comes first, no. So it has to be ordered. So by default, since it's ascending, that's why order by ID. You can mention ascending over here, but now there is no need to mention because by default it's already ascending. And here the separator should be blank because already space is there, so no need to mention the separator. Separator is going to be blank because I don't want any kind of spaces or anything, any separation between the characters. Okay, so blank separator, and I am going to say this one, alias this one as converted underscore text. Okay, from the temp 4, and I'm going to group it by the content ID. Let us go ahead and let us run this. This should work. It is saying okay, original it should be. Okay, it has accepted. Let us submit this. So as you can see, it has a runtime of 275 milliseconds and it beats 85%. So it's a pretty efficient solution. I hope you have really enjoyed this session. This question was really very difficult. At one glance, it will look like it's very easy, okay, because people will think it in normal programming language like Python, where it is very easy to split the particular text in form of spaces and other characters. But this is actually not Python, this is SQL. Okay, and if you want to do something like this using SQL, it really becomes very difficult. So we need to use this we need to perform something like this with the help of recursive CTE. Okay, so it is very important to learn about recursive CTE. Besides, I'm now creating one more a playlist on Python, so please go ahead and watch that. I will go ahead and paste the link in the description. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you really enjoyed this session, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon for notification. Thank you.